Welcome back, everybody, to the ASL. It's time for Group E. We've got a crazy lineup, a reversal of yesterday. 3 Terrans and a Zerg player. This time, though, I think the Zerg is getting through the minority race in this group. Going to possibly be dominating, but who will get through alongside him? We've got some great Terrans, Piano, Ssak, and JYJ. JYJ. He would have loved to be in the group yesterday, man. It would have been a absolute fantastic group for him.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. I really don't know who's getting out of this group besides Soulkey. I think like just about everyone at home is probably predicting Soulkey getting out of this group. You'd kind of have to be a madman not to. But who are these other guys? You know, Piano, JYJ, Ssak. You know, they're all very capable players, and I don't quite know. Like, I don't think all 3 of these guys are like really strong in TVT, although Piano's got some really good pocket builds he uses. Ssak, you know, he's been playing a lot better as of late and has been showing some great performances in TVTs too. And JYJ, he's not very good at TVP, but you know, he can kind of hold his own in TVT, maybe not to the same standard as the best Terrans on the planet, but yeah, I don't know how to call this group besides Soulkey getting through.
We got that kind of a enigma in Piano. Last season, he showed such an interesting wealth of builds, I would say. He was like a bag of builds in his own right that season, but can he make the magic happen again and possibly even take down Soulkey in the very first match of the night? That would be insane. Completely throw the group for a loop, but I think the chances of that happening are very unlikely.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I could see him maybe busting out something like a BBS to try and catch Soulkey off guard, but we all know how good defensively Soulkey is. I think even if you do catch him a little bit unawares, he's probably still going to hold his own, and even if you do put him behind by sniping a few drones, Soulkey's the kind of guy that's actually very comfortable playing from behind and one of the best at it, and is very optimized with his build orders as well. He can basically do all the build orders that these other pro gamers do, but somehow find a way of like squeezing out an extra drone here and there. It's kind of crazy what he's able to do. So yeah, I really don't see Piano beating Soulkey in this first match, but you know, best of 1 ASL round of 24 format. It is kind of hard to say for sure. Like, there's been a few upsets already, right? Like, we've got players like Shuttle, he got out, Shiny, Gameo, and we've had players like Bisu, Action, Sharp eliminated, Speed eliminated, Lava and Mong yesterday. I mean, who knows for sure what's going to happen?
It's really difficult to say. I wonder if we're going to see JYJ versus Soulkey, because that's a match I'd love to have. JYJ, one of the best TVZ players in the world. His Marine Medic control is out of this world. The stark difference between his ability to use that composition mirrored against Mong's ability is going to be, it's definitely a contrast, but yeah. If he manages to get into the winners match and go up against Soulkey, I think sparks are going to fly.
I think so, and I really would like to see that. But I also think that, you know, Ssak versus Soulkey would be a good game. You know, Ssak is very tech heavy, and we probably will be seeing some interesting Valkyrie builds out from him. Although when Ssak and Soulkey have met each other in the ASL before, Ssak tried to get tricky with like a Valkyrie into mech build, and Soulkey just absolutely stomped him with a muta stab timing and just overwhelmed him before he could get off the ground. That's the kind of tricky thing about Soulkey. He's not just seriously good at macro, he understands the game and he switches into the extremely aggressive gear all at once when he needs to.
Yeah, he's a nightmare to deal with, because you don't want to let him grow and become strong in going into the late game, but poking him is a double-edged sword. He can very oftentimes turn it around back on you, or just stomp it out completely with his great defensive play. We're taking a look at the stage now. All the players are assembled. We're going to get a little interview before we start this Group E match.
Yeah, I'll take this as the opportunity to go into my little spiel, my player breakdown. So Soulkey, the 4-time back-to-back ASL champion, has been taking Brutal a lot more seriously. Again, less league, more games, and his current form demonstrates that shift. This is the perfect group for his Iron Curtain macro style, cleaning up bio balls efficiently with Mutaling to set himself up nicely for that late game. He's also capable of aggressive plays when the need arises, like I just said. Soulkey beat 8-15 and scanned 2-0 in his day 1 main qualifier group. A clear favorite today, but is he ready enough to become a 5-star general this season of ASL? Next up, we got Piano. He's a bit of a dark horse in the ASL. He's a caster like us, but can still hang out with some of the best players in the world on stage, unlike us. As we saw in those recent tournament showings, capable of thoughtful, interesting, aggressive builds that are deadly in TVT and willing to put it all on the line when the need arises. Piano beat Sue and Ivory 2-1 in his day 2 main qualifier group. Got the feeling he'll have a harder time this run, just because everyone's now a bit more aware of what to expect from him. Next up, we got JYJ. He beat Effort 2-0 and Sue 2-1 in his day 1 main qualifier group. He's a TVZ specialist. He's won an ASL title previously, so he's a champion. Even if it was a bit of a lucky run avoiding Protoss opponents, he really struggles in that matchup. He's going to put up a good fight if he faces off against Soulkey this group. Like Saiyan said, sparks could fly, but he has got some tricky Terrans to worry about along the way. And finally, he'll be facing off first up against Ssak, very tech-centric Terran, capable of some of the most diverse range of TVZ play, enjoying to execute builds like Valkyrie and Tamek and all sorts of tricky builds that are difficult to execute. Ssak beat Pusan 2-1 and True 2-1 in his day 2 main qualifier group. He was struggling a year or two ago to perform, but in most recent times has been a lot more consistent and able to become a deadly competitor.
True is BTS.
Sure. Yeah.
I believe, right? Yeah.
Correct.
So just in case you guys aren't following all the name switches, like these guys are constantly changing their IDs. It gets kind of confusing. So cool to see Piano up on the stage rather than behind a microphone. Well, he's holding a microphone in his hand right now, so I guess is a little bit reminiscent of the KCM cast. But Shid and I have been casting KCM for a long time. He's the long-time second in command on the KCM, doing the strategy analysis and breakdown for KCM. Such a cool part of the Brood War community, and just such an interesting player to watch because you really don't know what he's going to pull out.
Right. Yeah. He has a wealth of knowledge about the game. He's one of the OG players. He was playing way back in the day, kind of like when most of us started playing. Obviously, he's not quite up to the same standard as some of these other guys, but, he's capable of breaking into the round of 16. He's already proved that. And his style does seem quite suiting to a best-of-1 format. We could see a little bit of an upset with him getting out of this group alongside Soulkey today. Who knows? You might even see some craziness where he's able to beat Soulkey in that first match. That would completely blow this group wide open. Already, it's really hard to call in terms of which of these other 3 Terran players will be joining Soulkey in the round of 16, but I'm pretty damn sure Soulkey's going to get there.
Yeah, it's for sure what everybody is expecting Soulkey to make it through. But having him eliminated would be kind of wild, getting rid of one of the strongest Zerg players in the entire world. And I feel like Soulkey and Soma are kind of destined to duke it out at some point this season of ASL.
Yeah.
I hope not in the finals, but maybe like a round of 8,
right?
Round of 4 possibility there. It won't happen though if he gets eliminated here. He's got to make it through to have that.
Yeah, but honestly, like Soulkey's ZVZs never like seriously impressed me. Like he can hold his own. He's fairly consistent in ZVZ. There's no wow factor. Whereas I think Soma is like one of those more complete players that is pretty damn good in all 3 matchups. Soulkey, I don't think rings true in that regard. I think not that Soulkey has been lucky in ASL maybe not to the same standard as like JYJ got with avoiding all the Protoss players, but you have to admit that Soulkey was very tactical during his back-to-back run as an ASL champion, where he was very selective about the players he was putting into his group and setting himself up with the seed advantage to avoid ZVZ, right? Yeah, he should do that. It's not like he shouldn't, but we have to say, like, if he does come across some strong Zergs in this tournament, I think his tournament life would be at threat.
Oh, for sure. Especially, I mean, I've talked about it a bunch. We didn't even get to see much ZVZ on the new maps yet in the last group, but I'm really looking forward to something coming up later on, like a best of 4 or excuse me, best of 5, best of 3 on some of the newer maps would be fantastic to watch, because you guys are going to be blown away by how much it changes the matchup. It's really altered it in a significant manner, especially with those neutral mineral patches, or excuse me, the fastest possible mineral patches. Absolutely crazy.
So I haven't seen you've been like doing a lot of pro league and stuff. I actually haven't seen many ZVZs on that map. So what are your takeaways from that? Are we seeing like Hydra builds or something insane because of the mineral density, or not quite that crazy?
Okay, I'll give you a little teaser.
Go on.
It's possible to build 4 hatches on 2 bases.
Okay.
Without saturating the natural.
That sounds like a Hydra build setup for me. That sounds like the possibility of some Hydra action. Yeah, that would be pretty insane.
The mineral income is insane. It's crazy. It's crazy what you can build.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they definitely will be playing Hydras on that map, but it seems like the stars are aligning to make that the strongest potential. Hydra builds are pretty terrible at the pro level, like that's just a reality, but I think if you've got that much of a mineral saturation, and you can have plenty of drones throwing down spores defensively, and you've got so many minerals you can throw down those extra hatcheries, that does suit a Hydra build for sure. I wonder if any of these guys would pull that out.
Well, we saw that Hydra build break open a Terran player earlier. Speed, right, got broken open, or am I wrong about that? Hydra build,
that was Sharp.
I think it was Action.
Was that Speed
Action
or Sharp?
broke open Sharp.
Yeah, it was Sharp. Yeah,
I think
was right.
It was Sharp.
It was Sharp. Yeah,
you're right. Sharp got annihilated.
You made like 5 bunkers, right? You made 5 bunkers and still died. But obviously that's off the back of having a wall in, so you've got like less space to place bunkers optimally as well. And he was a bit greedy with not having loads of SCVs ready for the preemptive repair. Like he had a few SCVs, but nowhere near enough.
Yeah, there was a few different problems there, right? One of the big issues was the supply depots went down faster than he thought, and he wasn't able to keep producing Marines to fill the bunkers. He was like lacking Marines in the back bunkers and had a hard time running the Marines back into the safety bunkers when the SCVs were blocking, because they were repairing. So, you know, there were definitely problems.
Yeah.
There were definitely issues there. He could have corrected, for instance, by bringing the SCVs to the front of the bunkers to repair, so that they are body blocking a little bit, and then also having good surface area without stopping the Marines from retreating into the rear bunkers. So, you know, it was a tough match for him. It just goes to show, though, how much the fastest possible map minerals actually make a difference in changing up the timings and changing up the possibilities for many different matchups.
Yeah, I think that's why we'll be seeing them vetoed a whole bunch by these guys. But we were saying in the previous cast, like once, you know, we get into the best of 5s, there's a much higher chance of seeing those maps, and in the best of 7s, you're guaranteed to see them if the series goes on long enough. So yeah, eventually we'll see more from those really interesting maps. I like that we've got 2 wildcard maps. Usually like ASL will only throw like 1 spicy map in there. But this time around, we've got 2 that are pretty far out there. But I like it. I like it when they're adding a bit more spice to the game, as long as they don't go too overboard. Taking a look at some of the win percentages, you can see what I was saying about Soulkey rings true here. Like, his EVC's never been that impressive, so he's like not even quite breaking even in that matchup. But these other 2 matchups, 60% plus. So yeah, seriously good against Terrans. and Protoss just having a hard time in that mirror matchup, truly shining.
You can see there's a bit of a discrepancy with how many ZVZs he's played. He's only played 55, where he's played 70 plus 80
Right.
In the other matchups. It's just him strategically avoiding Zergs for the most part in ASL. When he had that long run, 4 wins in a row, was able to move players around to kind of avoid that really chaotic matchup and just give him a better opportunity to get later on into the tournament. Once you get past the round of 16, the series become longer, and that's where players like Soulkey can really shine. It's hard to take a game off of Soulkey, but it's really, really hard to take 3 or 4 games off of him.
Yeah, in a series, I completely agree. And Piano on the other end of the spectrum, really struggling against Protoss, but holding his own against Terran and respectably well against Zerg. Looks like we're about to get ready, guys. Hope you are locked in. The ASL Season 22, Round of 24, Group E, Soulkey versus Piano, Match 1, Knockout.
All right, Soulkey spawning in the top left. We got Oregon, aka Piano, over in the top right. And we just have to watch and see what Piano wants to do. I feel like Soulkey probably going to open with an early pool, just be super, super safe. That's been his strategy for years, is to just make sure that he has all the defenses and can't die early, because he is so strong as the game gets later and later.
Yeah, basically, sometimes Soulkey will even do build orders like overpools or like 9 pull into expansion, just to like guarantee surviving any initial pressure and rush potential, knowing that even if he is playing from behind against a macro opening from the Terran, he doesn't care. Like, he's good enough that he can make up those deficits and be just fine. That's been his usual take home in this matchup. I don't think that Piano is going to be doing anything too spicy here, just a depot in the wall in, but this could still be a CC first from him. Let's see.
Is there going to be a pool thrown down? No. So Soulkey looks like a 11 or 12 hatchery.
Yeah, seems so.
Come from him. Yeah, 12 hatchery. So that's interesting. Not fearing something like BBS from Oregon coming across early and just trying to knock him out. I feel like, you gotta try something crazy here. Yeah. If he tries to play a straight up game versus Soulkey, there's really not a lot of hope for him.
I mean, I really thought that he would either go for a BBS or a CC first. I thought there'd be nothing in between, and he's doing neither of those things. He's doing a very orthodox opening with this barracks time. Oh, Soulkey misses optimization. You're trying to like set the drone up for making the gas as you're throwing down your pool, and then you barely cycle in enough minerals so that the drone, as it lands on the gas, still can make it, and that can squeeze a couple of seconds out from your lair timing. But he actually missed it. He didn't quite get the mineral optimization perfect, so the drone has to remake that gas. Slight misstep from him.
Well, better RM than start the game over. Gotta get that perfect.
Some people like that in practice games, right? They'll just go like just start again.
Oops, I didn't split my drones properly. Like, better start over. Nah, I mean, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but you can just see the attention to detail of Soulkey in how well he macros and how precise absolutely everything is in his build.
Yeah, so he got like a 252 layer, which is a very standard timing. Pretty much any competent Zerg can hit that. But if you do manage to get that animation trick on the gas when you're planting your pool, you're shaving a second or two of that timing. It's a big deal in StarCraft having your muters arriving just a teeny tiny bit earlier. Like, maybe you fly in just before a turret is finished and completely overwhelm the Terran by ramping up the tempo early. Like, all these tiny razor thin metrics matter so much at a competitive level in StarCraft. You're basically like a speed runner playing against another speed runner.
Let's see what Oregon has. I mean, we can't count him out. Let's let him cook for a little bit. Let's see what he's got in the back pocket. I again feel like he should be doing something pretty cheesy, but nothing looks out of the ordinary so far. Everything seems to be pointing towards a 2 racks dim timing, and that is about as standard gets. Soulkey should be completely ready for this. Maybe Oregon's hoping that Soulkey will, be worried about some sort of cheese coming. Maybe he's going to be looking for some tricks, and the straight up play might catch him off guard. I have no idea.
No. Well, he should have an idea. Oh, he's trying to hide the Marines. He doesn't want Soulkey to identify that this is a 2 racks opener. It's like Soulkey, interestingly enough, might be taking this 9 o'clock as his third base. That would be a little bit unorthodox. And actually, the drone's now moving down. That makes a lot of sense. Maybe the drone was just temporarily scouting out for the possibility of something being proxied or what have you. And now he's placing it in a much more usual position. This is what I like to do. Take the natural expansion as your third, and then you can sunken it up if need be. But the main point is that you do have a free 4th gas that you can take behind it.
Oh, gonna dive on top of the Marines. Not getting a kill, though. Pretty good micro from Oregon. Preventing a loss there at the beginning of this push. Does he have anything in the wall? 1 fire bat. Oh, just barely going to be enough. Nicely placed there. Blocking out those lings, and those 2 fire bats are going to head out on the map. They might come down towards bottom right. Maybe he can sneak past that Overlord hanging out on the cliff. Get into position to try to backstab a little bit later. No, he's bringing them up with the army. He's heading directly towards his natural. There is a bit of a dip here at the front, which makes it hard. And adding on an evolution chamber as well is just going to mess up the micro so badly.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It just
target firing directly onto 1 sunken colony. He gets the first sunken colony down. That means that these Marines will not die to the direct fire of the sunken. And there's 1 medic here. He forces the pull. It's starting to become worth it for Oregon now. I was a bit afraid for him diving in.
Yeah, I mean, denying the mining is actually pretty huge. It's a shame that he can't kill a muta for free as it pops out in this natural. Soulkey's gonna stabilize just fine here, but not a bad timing attack. The only problem is that you've lost a lot of bio. So now you're going to have a hard time once Soulkey gets up to that 7 muta count and starts going aggressive. But I like this from Piano. Oh, but Soulkey might scout it. He's trying to sneak some Marines down to the southern hemisphere to get on top of that third base of Soulkey. But now he's identified it. The Mutalisk can now cycle down to this position and wipe them out.
Yeah, this is unfortunate, but it's buying some time. Oregon can get more turrets online. He's not losing SCVs right now. The mutas are... Oh, they're not finding it. Hold on.
Wait, what?
Whoa, Soulkey's heading back. He's totally missed this.
Yeah,
That's crazy. That's crazy. I think he's going to turn around once he sees that the Marines are not out on the map. He's going to go down to the bottom right and find this.
Well, he's got some lings on the lookout for them. He definitely knows they're out there somewhere, but he also needs to be wary of like an additional bioforce moving out from the rally point. So the mutas have gone back to go into more of a harassing posture. Lings have finally found that small pocket of bio, so now the mutas are in hot pursuit of that squad down in the bottom right. Piano, like you say, though, going to be buying some time to be set up back at home so he doesn't weather too much damage on the counter-offensive. If he can pick off a muta here, that's huge. He does pick off a mutalisk. That's some pretty good compensation for Piano. Now Soulkey getting a little bit cautious, pulling those low HP mutas back, realizing that Piano is actually quite on top of his target firing with those bioforces.
Wow, I mean, this is going way better for Piano than I ever thought possible.
Yeah, moving out now across the bridges. Soulkey has a pretty sizable count of mutalisks, a full stack. Piano needs to not overstep his boundaries too much. Does pick off more additional mutalisks of Soulkey. And at the moment, because of that lost mining time, Soulkey doesn't want to pump lings to clean up this bioball. Ideally, he just wants to use purely mutalisks, so Piano can kind of overstay his welcome in the center of the map a little bit more than usual against Soulkey. Some drones, I think, being cycled down to the bottom left, and Soulkey's just transitioning, getting the Hydra Den, the Queen's Nest, and setting up for that late game Hive Tech. Does come in from a different angle, starts chipping away at the medics, picks off one of them, trying to stop these two Bibles from merging, but we'll be unsuccessful in doing so at this rate.
I'm getting a little lag spikes here and there, but hopefully we're back and everything's set up. One thing I'm seeing a problem with Oregon right now with Piano is that he doesn't have any turrets over his barracks. So if Soulkey manages to wipe out all of this bio, he could swing the pressure back onto the other side of the map, take over the barracks area, and that could be lights out for Piano. It's a risky move, but he's managed to get out a lot of bio because he's skipped a lot of these turrets. He's managed to get up 4-5 racks and just piling on the pressure while getting his factory as well. Soulkey is on the back foot. It's crazy that Oregon's playing this well.
He has got 2 lurkers about to pop at this third base, but technically there was a timing for Piano to get in there, but Soulkey cleaned up that first Bible. I was a little bit surprised that Piano didn't buy a few extra seconds to conjoin those 2 blobs and then move as one single unit down to the bottom left. I think he might have had a timing against those lurkers had he had done that. So Soulkey does hold the line for the time being. Just one single lurker here in the natural expansion alongside 2 sunken colonies. He's not fully set up yet. He will have that hive popping, defiler mound going down, but will be a long time until he actually has the safety of that dark swarm. Maybe there's a moment of weakness Piano can find.
Okay, some lurkers come forward. One's going to be targeted down immediately. Second one could die as well. There's no mischance on this first lurker. The second lurker might have some mischance, but most of the bio has been cleared. More coming up, however. Another lurker falls. 2 lurkers, 1 sunken colony, and no Nidus to defend. Means that Soulkey could potentially get broken. I don't think there's quite enough Marines to make it happen, but that was a scary moment as some of those lurkers went down. Yeah,
I mean, the game was a little bit strange because he did have to evacuate the natural. Like, Soulkey's not hitting his macro stride quite in the same way as he would usually. Oh, it's a couple of dropships here from Piano, but there are Scourge on that northern hemisphere with some spotter overlords as well, scanning ahead of the dropships to identify. I think he sees the Scourge with the scan. Can he avoid them though? I don't think he knows about this overlord that he's about to fly by though, so the Scourge will get a big tip off. Dropships have to turn away and go back to safety. Mutalisks are coming. He's panic unloading these dropships as the mutas come to hunt them down.
Yeah, I mean, this is the right call from Piano for sure. Just unload and send the dropships back. Maybe you can get a bit of pressure going with them later. Maybe add a couple more dropships, you know, in a few minutes here, and try to make it happen again. Nothing ventured, nothing lost, nothing gained. Excuse me. So you gotta throw them out.
You got it half right.
Also, nothing lost, right? Nothing lost in that situation either.
Okay, so, I mean, the pressure really is starting to ramp up on Piano. Like, it's a big investment going for 2 dropships before the vessels, so he needs to find something. Looks like he's maybe going to look to drop down here in the natural expansion, but there are some Scourge waiting for there. There's Mutalisks in the main base. One of these dropships would probably go down, unless he tries to hit this third base from the mineral line. I guess that could work. He might deny some mining, kill some drones, but Soulkey should be able to still defend this.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything at the front to try to follow this up. So a lot of the Marines are just going to die immediately. This is not the drop that he was looking for. I think a little bit more patience would have been very nice from Piano in this situation. You know, wait for more bio to come out, and that way you can try to pressure the entrance at the same time as you're doing this drop, make it a little bit more confusing for Soulkey. Soulkey was easily able to bat that away because of the one angle nature. Like the Terrans who actually put threat to Soulkey, but people who can and really bring him down, people like Sharp. Sharp is recently been able to take out Soulkey and Soma in Pro League, and he's been playing very, very well. And the reason why he's able to take down these guys is because he does multiple fronts. You know, he's dropping and he's attacking into the front at the same time while irradiating everything. Just creating such a crazy amount of chaos for the Zerg player to actually deal with all at the same time that it finally breaks open even a player as skilled as Soulkey.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. This is a bit unfortunate. He's trying to double expand and set himself up for the late game. He's made an additional couple of drop ships, going for a 4 drop ship, Doom drop hit squad to try and come back in this game and set the tempo here. But oh my god, it's gonna be such a big play! So much chili sauce dousing those Marines, making them all the tastier to gobble up later. Soulkey's got a couple of lurkers and a defiler down here in the 4th base that he's taking. Dropships kind of rotating around the center of the map. Not quite sure where he wants them to go yet. Maybe the main base. Oh, some more dropships get intercepted. Unless they were empty and that was a fake out to make him think he was safe against the drops, and only these 4 are loaded up going into the main. But look at how much defense there is for Soulkey. Gonna take 2 of those dropships out in quick succession. 5 bats and some Marines do make it out while he's hitting that 3rd base down at the bottom of the map. But this drop is getting cleaned up pretty cost efficiently. A little bit of Korean barbecue with those fire bats and their Perdition flamethrowers, but I don't think it's gonna be good enough for Piano here. Soulkey is starting to eclipse him in supply and in the overall game state.
I mean, the start of the game was really, really nice from Piano, but now we're beginning to feel the skill difference that we were talking about at the beginning. It's like, you don't really want to fight Soulkey in a late game. Do you, Piano? Do you really want to deal with the plague grind and the defensive style here on 4 gases? It's going to be absolutely brutal. And you can see that he just doesn't quite have the multitasking to put Soulkey through his paces and at the same time avoid all of the plagues and you know, keep the pressure on while defending back at home.
Yeah, I kind of admire Piano for trying to play a more or less straight-up game against Soulkey, but I also think it's a bit of a fool's errand at the same time. Another play coming out here. At least he's keeping this base online, mining steadily at 4 bases. Well, getting another dropship down here in the bottom left, but Soulkey's just got units everywhere to clean up these threats. More dropships going down, and quite minimal damage being achieved by Piano. He's trying to stim past these links, get into the mineral line, snipe a couple of drones. At least he's getting something for his investment, but it's surely not enough. I do like that he's like doing the normal Terran thing of getting the 4 bases online. Gives him a bit of a fighting chance going into the late game, but this is still a Zerg favorited situation that he's going to claw his way back on. Non-stop plagues coming out from Soulkey. Some pretty good irradiates, considering how many dropships he's been making. He hasn't got that many irradiates available to him, so it's not really laying siege to the Zerg like he would usually be able to. And Soulkey still with a healthy count of mutas, starting to shark around the map now. More dropships from Piano making its way down to that southern hemisphere yet again.
This is kind of what you have to do. You have to keep on pressuring. If you're not going to go into, for example, a couple of factories and just start pumping tanks and just angle towards the late game, you have to keep the pressure on non-stop. So Oregon, I like this drop from him. He's got some fire bats in here as well. He's actually going to kill a lot of drones. Wow, so ton of drones go down. Not the fastest pull from Soulkey. We'll get his army into position to clear this up, no problem. The drop ships look to be going down as well. So, you know, that's a very big investment made by Piano, and they'll get some drones. I think these will be replaced very quickly by Soulkey, and he's going to get that 4th gas online no matter what you do at this point. Yeah,
he's starting to produce battle cruisers, is Organ, and he's got that 3rd starport as well. That's key. Needs to get a control tower on that stat. I think he just now started it. But yeah, this 3rd gas is helping him out, but that 4th base is only a mineral only. Not ideal for the Terran. You'd really like to have 4 gases in this situation so you can make an insane amount of BCs. But, you know, there's a fighting chance here for our Terran. So far, Soulkey is holding his own spectacularly well. SCV maybe hopeful in setting up a ninja base down here. Going to get found out by those sharking Mutalisks and taken down. couple of battle cruisers in reserve. He needs to start utilizing these to threaten some of the gas expansions of Soulkey, but Soulkey's ready for it. He's starting to produce Hydralisks. He's getting the upgrades for them. He's going to have lots of Defilers in support of those as well to Plague and Dark Swarm and prevent the battle cruisers from finding their value. Hydra Defiler is one of the most cost-efficient unit compositions in the entire game.
Oh my gosh, more dropships. I mean, how many... Here's a valid question. How many science vessels has Oregon made?
Like 4 tops, like 2 or 4 or something like that. It's crazy.
I see VCs. I see so many drops. I hardly see any irradiates. So it's kind of wild, the strategy that Piano is going for. And he's going to lose those 2 vessels now. How does he even clear out the lurkers under Dark Swarm at this point?
He doesn't
really do it. So these battle cruisers are taking a lot of damage. They're going to open up a path for some potential with these drops, but with all the lurkers already present, more coming, and Dark Swarm being laid down, this is a dead Terran zone. Like, the Terran is coming here, the graveyard for the Terran army. There's not really a place for these dropships to run off to either. They're just going to die immediately. Oh, nothing at the front, though. Lurker pops out. That's going to be targeted down quickly. 3 lurkers here and no Dark Swarm. Ooh, but the spines are pretty darn good. And with all the Hydras popping through, he will be shut down. I think we're seeing a GG pretty soon.
I would imagine. He's trying to take a base in the bottom right, but Mutalisk killing BCs is kind of a sign of the times here. He's going to even have a hard job holding on to his rally point location. Like you say, there's just nothing to deal with lurkers under Dark Swarm because of how little vessels have been produced this game. He's just struggling to keep up with the macro engine that is Soulkey. To be fair, he's put up a valiant fight. I don't necessarily hate the way he's been playing. He has been doing what you need to do as a Terran to catch up from behind and keep the pressure on the Zerg. It's just not been good enough. Soulkey has just been outclassing him in this game, and I think we are moments away from him being overrun by the Zerg.
I don't know who convinced Piano to play like this, but I think this is, I mean, optimistic to say the least, to think that you can take on Soulkey.
Well, he's playing like you would if you want to be the best player on the planet, right? Like, this is the style of play if you're like Flash and you want to put out some of the best games you can. GG is called, and Soulkey makes short work of Piano with his usual style. But I do give a lot of credit to Piano. You've got to have balls to try and play a more or less straight up game against the previous 4-time back-to-back champion. Like, yeah, that is like thinking that you're the old school Flash or something.
I feel like Piano kind of disappointing me. I think he's a strategic, I think of him as a strategic genius, but you know, fighting Soulkey on his home turf in a macro game, that seems like a blunder, a strategic blunder, in my opinion. Would have loved to see him go for something a bit more cheesy, try to throw Soulkey off. Maybe he's saving a build for perhaps like a later match, or maybe he only prepared for Terran. That's a possibility too. Maybe he was like,
that's true.
There's no way I'm beating Soulkey. Let me just only prepare TVT and get through it in the rest of this group. Guys, we're going to a short commercial break. 5 minutes. We'll be back for JYJ versus Ssak. Don't go anywhere. All right, boys, we are back, ready for some TVT. Oh yeah, Xun, you ready, man?
I'm ready, boy. I actually have grown a bit fond of TVT this like last year or so. Used to be such a boring matchup way back when. Like every single game was a split map, trench warfare style, both players getting BCs, and then just a tug of war, 2-on-1 Yamato trades and trying to land an EMP occasionally. It was a absolute slogfest. But nowadays the matchup's a lot more aggressive, a lot more dynamic, and even when it does get into those situations where it's a macro game and split map has been achieved, it's a lot more interesting.
Yeah, of course, TVT. Anything is more interesting than just split map BCs, and the recent drop meta has been pretty fantastic. The games are lasting a lot less time, and just gone are the days of like a TV2 group such as this lasting for 3 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Thank God for that, Shun, because I mean my voice can just not hold out for that long. It's a little bit too much. Round of 16 is already hard enough as it is, but we did have a great long TVT earlier already this season. If you guys
Yeah.
missed it, yeah, go back and check that out. I mean, what a fantastic match between Shine and
Shiny.
Shiny and Sharp it's just whew,
Yeah.
pure cinema.
Even
Fantastic.
though it was a macro game, it wasn't like both players were going BCs and sitting back. One player went BCs and the other player was being very tactical with his positioning and utilizing a high count of cloaked wraiths. I really like that game. One of the best TVTs we've seen in a long time. Massive shout out to Shiny, man, making his debut in the ASL with style. The reason why you haven't seen a lot of that guy is he's the ladder hero, always sitting at number 1 on the ladder board, and he did qualify for an ASL event a long time ago and didn't show up, so he actually got temporarily banned from the ASL. However, he's been recently unbanned and tried to qualify for the last season, couldn't make it in, but qualified this season and is shown up in such a big way, making it through to that round of 16 already.
Got to remind yourselves that JYJ is an ASL champion. Managed to slip one in a few seasons back, just before really Soulkey started to dominate. There were a couple seasons in there that were a little bit surprising. Royal and JYJ snagging a couple of Terran titles before Zerg. Well, not Zerg, but specifically Soulkey started to dominate. And he's going to be going up against Ssak, who is a bit of an enigma. It really depends on the day. So hard to tell if he's going to be playing well or if we're going to see him absolutely flop out. I hope we get to see the best possible version of Ssak today.
Yeah, I do think Ssak is a slightly more accomplished player when it comes to TVT than JYJ. Like, I do think of JYJ as a strict TVT specialist, but let's get into it, guys. The second match of the group, ASL round of 24, season 22, JYJ versus Ssak on Knockout.
Okay, JYJ spawning in the top left, Ssak in the bottom right. Will he Ssak or will he suck? That is the question today.
Yeah, there was a time, like about a year or so ago, I kind of like nicknamed him Ssak, but just because he was not performing and throwing games left, right, and center. But I've, credit where it's due. He's been playing fantastically in comparison to that. So yeah, I'm looking for big things from him. Would be interested to see either of these guys go up against Soulkey. JYJ being the TVZ specialist, that's a no-brainer. But also Ssak, he's got a lot of teched out builds and a different way of approaching the game that I think would be very interesting to see facing off against Soulkey in that winners match too.
Yeah, specifically Ssak was throwing games. That was the thing that really gave him the nickname, was finding himself into a good position and then absolutely chucking it out the window.
Yeah, and by good position, you mean like 90% win rate, like...
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's an apt nickname for the time. I think he's really turned things around. I hope we get to see the best version of him today, and give JYJ a run for his money. Although I would rather watch JYJ versus Soulkey in the winners match, because I think that JYJ stands a pretty good chance of taking him out.
Yeah, I can kind of get behind that. I would slightly more rather see JYJ against Soulkey. I'll still be happy with either. Slightly different approaches here. JYJ's got his barracks a bit more forward towards the bridges, whereas Ssak is on the periphery of his main base. This is a pretty hedging of the bets here from JYJ. Like, in theory, this could help you put on pressure to something like a CC first. It probably won't put on pressure to a bunker expand quite as much, since it's not quite far enough forward. But let's say Ssak gets really greedy and throws down to the CC first. That does give a little bit of option for JYJ to put on some pressure.
Looks like Ssak will have a slightly faster gas and slightly faster factory. Not a massive difference here between the two, but Ssak just getting into that gas a little bit quicker. I'm wondering if he's going to make a starport after this, because I feel like the trickier Ssak is, the better he plays. Like, he plays so well when he's going for all of these different techs and not just trying to play a straight up game.
Yeah, well, he is pulled off of gas, so we might not be seeing that starport for some time. It could be CC into starport though. Still, that is a possibility. We'll have to see. Ooh, okay, Marine doesn't quite see that SCV coming across, so Ssak easily going to get a scout off here, but because of this Marine not being spotted, might be able to put on some pressure here. Depends on did Ssak skip Marines? I think Ssak might have skipped Marines entirely. This is really risky. You make one Marine can be punished, but no Marines can easily be pressured, and this is a problem for Ssak. He's got a bunker about to finish up in the wake of this CC as well. He's making a vulture, but how's the vulture going to deal with the bunker?
Oh my gosh, this is really bad for Ssak. Yeah, I didn't notice that he made no Marines at all. That is so risky and easy punish here from JYJ. There was a time when bunker at the natural and bunker rushing in TVT was actually quite popular. Yeah. And you can see the reason why. If your opponent is even a little bit greedy, you can end up denying this command center and slowing it down by an enormous amount. There's the starport coming up, so Ssak gonna get a Wraith out, maybe even go for a dropship or something like that. But he is already in a tough position as JYJ just seizes control of the bottom of his ramp. Yeah, to put it into perspective for you guys, like, one Marine is considered greedy because you need two to be safe against something like a BBS. So making no Marines is just asking to be pressured. And because the barracks was slightly forward for JYJ and the SCV scout missed it, there was just nothing that Ssak could do to recover that natural expansion, being that greedy. Does have a tank now. We'll put a clock on this bunker and eventually chip away. Oh, he's actually taking damage on the tank. That's a big mistake. But yeah, this is worrisome for Ssak, to say the least. He is going to have a starport, so he's got a little bit of a tech advantage, I suppose, but JYJ's already mining in his expansion. He's going to be laying mines here at the front as well, trying to just take a little attention with those Marines and get the mines out right in that front. This is so annoying. Like, I thought things were going kind of well for Ssak when he was getting his CC down at a faster timing and blocking at the natural of JYJ, but this has gone completely awry now with the bunker here and all these mines. How do you even start to make a comeback against this? I guess the Wraith coming into the main can start to kill over and over again. Yeah. The SCV building the armory, but that's still a really rough proposition. And again, how on earth do you clear these mines without making Marines to just walk out and die to them? Yeah, and you don't kill a lot of SCVs here. You kill like 2 or 3 before the armory is finally built and then Goliath is out.
It's not ideal. He did make a comsat so he can land this CC. That's something, you know, that's not too terrible for Ssak now. He's gonna get, like his 3 kills on that Wraith. Might be able to get a 4th just barely before the Goliath comes out. That would be some compensation, but bear in mind, like, there's 2 CCs that have been pumping out SCVs, and JYJ's been mining in that natural. This is like bare minimal compensation for Ssak. He needs something else. That's why he's trying to put on some pressure with these vultures. Can he get some damage?
Oh, the SCV was blocking the vultures as they were trying to run back, so he wasn't able to get there in time. Ssak went the long way around and still made it over here first. And so he's going to get a few more SCV kills. Not bad at all. Killing off quite a bit of the economy and negating some of that economic advantage JYJ got at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, that's not terrible. And 5 kills on this Wraith, so we actually did a lot better with it than I thought. The vulture distraction helping out a little bit there as well. And yeah, when the dust settles, I would say this is... Oh no, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Wait.
He has to build a supply depot to fix it.
This?
Yeah, he can. He can fix that. There we go.
Okay. Good. That is that is extremely annoying. It's nice for Terran that they can actually fix it by just building a building. Sometimes that happens to Zerg, and you have to kill your own building or just put more drones on that mining, or just never it'll never recover. Yeah,
it is what it is. Okay, well, he's going to control tower on this starport now. Maybe eventually going into some cloak tech or some drop ships later. Oh, needs to be careful. These paper planes die so quickly. Can't be throwing anything away in this game since he is behind the curve economically speaking. JYJ's got speed on his vultures now himself. Don't think he's going to find much damage unless Ssak gets hyper aggressive and pushes out early. And yeah, it looks like both players being a little bit cautious of one another now that the dust has settled and things will gradually begin to normalize between these two. It's kind of hard to punish a player cross map unless one of you is going like pure vulture war, like full factory style, and neither one is doing that at the moment. But maybe JYJ could switch up and go mass vultures if he wants to. Is getting a bit of a sneak by here on Ssak, getting quite a few SCV kills, does get deep into the main base. This could be the nail in the coffin that seals JYJ's advantage now. That wasn't necessarily game-ending damage, but he was already far ahead before that.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly who's really ahead at the moment. Ssak has a bit of a supply lead, but so much of that is in vultures that aren't going to be super useful. Oh, this drop gets spotted. That's some crazy star sense from JYJ picking up on that. It makes sense that a player with the starport would probably end up going drops afterwards, but finding that out and shutting that down is huge. Here comes Ssak, though, with so many vultures going straight for the main.
Beautiful block.
Vultures popping out just in the nick of time. Timing on that pop from 4 vultures was absolutely perfect to shut that down.
Yeah, so even though, like you were saying, even though the supplies look very similar, in terms of army composition, JYJ is far superior and got a lot of DPS onto that dropship already. It's going to make Ssak a lot more hesitant to go deep with that later in the game. There's still playability, though, for Ssak if he can slow this game down, get some map control going. He's taking a third base around about the same time as JYJ here. We could see some degree of normalization, but it's 5 factories to 3 JYJ to Ssak, so there is a big production advantage here for JYJ. He could get aggressive and challenge the center of the map sometime.
These guys are actually remarkably close. There was so much chaos in this early game, and a lot of times in TVT, things will just spiral out of control, but both players have managed to normalize a little bit. One vulture.
Okay.
Slowing down this third base is very nice for Ssak. And that's going to be dealt with here in a moment. Oh, it gets another SCV that was sent to go and start the... to restart the production on that. Yeah. And I don't see another SCV going just yet, but there should be one coming soon, and JYJ will get everything together. While Ssak here banking wraiths. That's interesting. First player to start banking race, not always the guy who ends up dominating the skies in the mid and late game, but this could be a strong play from Ssak to give himself more presence in the map and possibly break some of these tank lines in the upcoming phase.
I mean, Ssak is fighting back strong here. He's delayed that third base of JYJ by about a minute total. He's been mining at his own third a lot longer than JYJ has now. Looks like both players iron up a fourth base. JYJ taking his first at the 12 o'clock. There's an SV position at the 6 o'clock there for Ssak, just starting his now. This game is, yeah, looking a lot more even than I was anticipating. Still not able to really find anything with the value of that dropship being made earlier on, but he has got a small squadron of Wraiths starting to head around the map now, taking advantage of the lack of anti-air of JYJ. He has got a few Goliaths here and there, but not necessarily a quick response team to some of these tank positions. So he's sniping the tanks. He might get a delay on this CC again. This is pretty good heads-up tactical play from Ssak. It's not like making him in a winning position necessarily, but it is evening out the game and making it more and more playable.
Yeah, I mean, these are not big moves at all, but the little chip damage that JYJ is receiving again and again is started to make me favor Ssak a little bit. It's still going to come down to tank engagements and the wider scale moves with dropships and stuff like that. I think we're definitely heading for a longer game, but Ssak is impressing me with his ability to keep his head on straight and keep his cool even in some of these difficult situations and look for ways of clawing back into this game. Yeah,
okay, both players have their science facility as well, so that there probably won't be an upgrade advantage for either side. Maybe a small window of a few seconds where one player has +2 and can be 2-shotting instead of 3-shotting tanks, but might not actually amount to much here. JYJ seeing if he can maybe attack towards the rally point of Ssak and circumnavigate this center defensive position. He's got a lot of units over on the right hand side. He's starting to shark forward now. Can he get deep into this pocket before Ssak can responding kind? Sark's got slightly more vultures maybe than JYJ. Has got some rally units coming up into position as well. JYJ's tanks on the low ground, but equally Ssak has bought himself enough time to shuffle these tanks over to shut down this offensive. Good vulture harass from JYJ at that 6 o'clock. Not finding a lot though, and Ssak actually has another expansion over in the bottom left quadrant, natural expansion that JYJ has just identified.
I think JYJ could back up over to the center right, maybe start to lock down that base. He's slowly losing tanks from that low ground. Position's not very good. He's actually going to back away and just let that be taken from by Ssak. Ssak just expanding a little bit faster because he keeps slowing down JYJ. Oh my gosh, he's just going to try and shove straight through the middle. These tanks are really stacked, so the trades are kind of reasonable here for JYJ, dealing a lot of damage to this. Ssak is cutting off the right-hand side of the map from the left-hand side for JYJ, so this will have to be dealt with. There's no way that JYJ can just ignore this position, but he can't break it with the Wraiths either because Ssak is so much farther ahead with Wraith play. Ooh, massive mine. And this army coming down to the bottom left, I don't think will be too successful. Yeah, a few SCVs will go down, but most of that's going to be cleaned up, especially here with this many Wraiths.
I still like this, though, from JYJ, like going on the counter-offensive rather than trying to challenge the center. I like this play a lot more. I think it makes sense, and JYJ still technically has access to the top right quadrant via the 12 o'clock base. Another hit squad of vultures at the 6 o'clock here for JYJ. Ssak is quick to respond, though, so not too many SCVs going to go down for him there. The game is kind of interesting. Like, Ssak was technically ahead when he was shoving the center and had that base mining in the bottom left, but JYJ's counteroffensive denied the mining of that base, and now he's starting to take the top right quadrant for himself. So maybe a tiny advantage here for JYJ, but positionally the game is better for Ssak with this center control. So let's see if he can use that to his advantage and press towards these bridges in the top right and find some good trades.
+2 on either side now. It'll be substantially more difficult for either player to break any tank line. Ssak has pushed JYJ all the way up into the corners of the map and now gonna slip back into attacking in the top left. So really JYJ is being shoved into a tighter and tighter corner.
Yeah.
Coming across the bridges is not easy with your army against a tank line, so he actually needs to respond to this quickly. There's a lot of Valkyries on either side. It's going to be a crazy fight. So many Valkyries with a much better spread on Ssak's side, though. And the Valkyries of JYJ will just get annihilated. This is not a good engagement from him whatsoever. Ssak wins that solidly.
Yeah, JYJ was about 20 supply up. Now they're effectively even in supply. He's still got a Wraith left in that fleet, does Ssak, so he's coming down here to finish off this Lone Ranger tank so we can start landing that CC and get back to mining again. Yeah, economically speaking, maybe the game is better for JYJ, but that might change soon as the game progresses. And like I said before, positionally, Ssak is in advantage, even if JYJ did have more mining bases at the present time. And yeah, I mean, eventually Ssak could, you know, tie the noose tighter and tighter around the neck of JYJ, and JYJ might not have enough actions of recourse to prevent that from happening, because like you say, these bridges are seriously hard to push across and you kind of do need like dropships or something. But with Ssak having the air superiority, okay, JYJ is going to try and make a move across the top right bridges instead, noticing these tanks were relatively undefended, pretty successful in doing so, and some vultures out on the map distracting Ssak from consolidating his forces as well.
And Ssak is not really doing a great job of taking advantage of this position. He's set up such an awesome spot with JYJ pushed back across his bridges. Now he can, and for the last like 5 minutes, he's been able to send vultures directly to the north to start denying mining and killing off SCVs at the top center, but he just hasn't done it. And now he's going to go ahead and shove over to the top right, but JYJ breaks the containment over his natural, so he will be able to come into the middle of the map and potentially flank this army that's making its way up to the top right.
Okay, so with these tanks, we'll be getting to that 12 o'clock position, but equally, JYJ, big counter. Yeah, there's multiple counterattacks. JYJ going down to the natural in the bottom left, and Ssak going to the 12 o'clock and the natural in the top right. This game is getting so chaotic so quickly. Even a bit of a vulture harass trying to occur at the 6 o'clock. Both players task switching out of the mine. The CC is going to go down. It doesn't lift off. So Ssak does lose that command center. But very successful counterattacks from Ssak here at both bases of JYJ. Ssak might have done it. He's starting to blow open JYJ here, despite JYJ technically leading in supply for the majority of this match. Positionally, Ssak has been superior, but this is a good move from JYJ. He knows there's not a lot down here. Can he overrun this 6 o'clock base and find compensation?
I mean, these guys are doing so much damage to each other at the same time. A lot of SCVs going down on either side. The 12 and the 6 are both being denied. I guess the 6 is still mining a little bit right now, but there's a much bigger army for JYJ down there. So, I mean, these guys are doing hammer blows to each other's heads, and one of them's going to crack. Center right will be taken by Ssak. Center left going to be taken by JYJ, it looks like. And, I mean, this game is just going to continue to become more and more chaotic because there's so much open space to take. Push in the center. JYJ going to remove this threat in the middle of the map and start to take control.
This is like two MMA fighters when they agree to just stand in the center of the ring and just like bang it out and don't try and even fight tactically anymore. Absolute insanity. JYJ secured positional advantage in the center of the map, but he's lost his mining in the top right. He's trying to set up a base at the 9 o'clock. But that, I think, was harassed a little bit by Ssak. He's got a lot of forces over there now to secure that location. And he's trying to take do a cleanup on aisle 5 on all of these tanks that are up here in the top right quadrant, so he can also resplit the map yet again. I mean, both players, like you said, have taken so much damage. So many SCVs and command centers have gone down. Oh my gosh, Saiyan, this is a crazy game.
Where are all the Valkyries? I mean, this next fight, it looks like it'll probably go in JYJ's favor. He has so much air dominance. That's just a ton of Valkyries, so that is a real problem. Nice delay here from Ssak. At least slowing this down a little bit. Stopping the SCV from mining. If he killed that additional SCV, it would have been pretty good as well, but he does get his base online a tiny bit faster. Guys, we're like almost dead even again. It's kind of wild what's happening.
I would say a slight advantage to Ssak. He's still got a few minerals in his natural, whereas JYJ doesn't. And Ssak is taking the natural in the top right. Technically, there is air superiority for JYJ, and he has got center map control. So the roles have reversed. Now it's Ssak with the economic advantage and JYJ with the positional and tactical advantage. But he looks like he has more than enough to just squash this base here in the top right natural.
Man, that's unfortunate.
Always gonna get the
really
gas.
good spot. Really good spot from JYJ to kill that gas. Floating another CC down. Gonna be able to get 6 o'clock online. I think that Ssak is gonna regret not lifting off some of these CCs because he lost multiple bases just to tank fire when he could have easily lifted off and then dropped them back down a little bit later. And
sure,
minerals are at a premium right now. It's not like he's got a ton of minerals to work with, so building extra CCs or rebuilding CCs is really going to hurt.
Unfortunately for JYJ, he didn't rescan to kill that gas, so it actually lives with the repair of Ssak. He's scanning now to try and finish it off, but without something like an air unit to constantly grant himself vision, he's just now sending a Wraith, delegating that to the task of keeping vision of that gas to shut it down. Now also shoving it onto this high ground at the mineral only location in the bottom left quadrant of the map is JYJ. Not a lot of forces here from Ssak to keep him at bay. He's going to have to relocate so much of his army. Look at how many Wraiths and Valkyries are in support of this ground force. A couple of good mine detonations going to thin out the herd of those tanks, and instead Ssak going on the counter offensive, getting on top of this expansion at the 9 o'clock. We're missing a lot of the action because there's just so much happening all at once.
Yeah, I think all the Valkyries just went in and died.
Oof. Yeah, look at the supplies. Definitely did.
Yeah. Yeah, we totally missed that. That's unfortunate. Usually the ASL observer is absolutely top tier, but I think that's probably going to be the end. 115 to 171.
Yeah.
JYJ has the center map control that allows him to push wherever Ssak is weak. And so he's just moving around the map looking, okay, you've only got a few tanks here, a few tanks there. All right, I'll just push into that, break that open. He's preventing this gas. He's prevented bottom center, whereas JYJ getting top center online. And now he's going to find all the drop ships as well. Dude, that's
Yikes.
so rough. The last possibility for for Ssak was to get some tactical advantage with those drops, but unable to do it. Everything's been wiped. Ssak is in a brutal position.
Yeah, I mean, silver lining, you did kill all the Valkyries in the process, but yeah, well, I mean, you're behind in supply. You have no tactical utility at your disposal. You're just relying on pure muscle with your ground army again. GG is called. Sakk's gonna tap out, and JYJ will go through to that winners match to face off against Soulkey. I think that's the best case scenario for the viewers and us as casters, getting to see a TVZ specialist to face off against the previous 4-time Zerg champion.
Damn, that was a really back and forth game, guys. From the very beginning as well. The bunker rush into the natural seemed to be giving JYJ a massive advantage, but Ssak did a great job of turning things around. And then, I mean, the comeback from JYJ is super impressive. The game evened out so many times. I felt like it was up in the air for a really long time. Too bad we missed that air fight, but it very much went in JYJ's favor. And now we're going to see him against Soulkey. Huge match coming up.
Yeah, there was a guy in the chat that said Group E does not like dropships, and I kind of agree with that. Think of how many dropships have died in these first 2 games. Oh my gosh, Sam. Absolute one. I don't think this game was quite as good as Shiny versus Sharp. I think this is a runner-up, right? This was a pretty good TVT from both of these guys, and kept it interesting from start to finish. I do think that JYJ was more or less in a winning position most of the game. There were a few moments where Ssak had positional advantage over JYJ by having center control, but JYJ did a masterclass on how to circumnavigate those discrepancies and still pick up the win when everything else was concluded. Let's see what happens going into that winners match, guys. The TVZ previous ASL champion JYJ going to be facing off against the 4-time back-to-back Zerg champion Soulkey. That could be a seriously good game. Going to be going to a little bit of a commercial break. Run to the bathroom, grab some water, grab some fruit, whatever you got to do, and join us in that winners match. Don't go anywhere.
All right, guys, time for the winners match, JYJ versus Soulkey. And this is the one match that I was really excited to see. I wanted to have JYJ versus Soulkey, and I got my wish. To be a fantastic match between this TVZ specialist and the four-time ASL champion Soulkey, who's making a bit of a comeback. Took some time off, reevaluated, uh, gave it a bit of a rest, gave Brood War a bit of a rest. Everybody needs to take a break from Brood War every once in a while. If you're playing
Yeah.
full time, eventually you're going to get, you're going to hit a wall. You're going to be overwhelmed. And Soulkey took some of that time off and decided, you know what, this is what I love to do. This is what I'm good at. I'm coming back for real and gonna throw my hat back in the ring and see if I can't take another championship.
Yeah, let's get right into the action, guys. The ASL round of 24 Group E winners match. JYJ versus Soulkey on Attitude.
Hey, spawning in the bottom left, we have JYJ. And in the top left, Soulkey. Guys, just want to shout out our Patreon supporters before we go any further. If you guys like to support what we do, if you've been enjoying our ASL coverage and you want to help us continue to make great content like the KCM and other fantastic series, we'd love your support. So go check it out. Even if you can't support, follow along and we'll be updating you guys on everything that we're up to.
Yeah, it's Saiyan duo casts on Patreon. Much love to you guys that have supported us, and a big shout out to you guys that supported me in going over to Poland to meet Saiyan for the first time. I'm actually blown away by how many donations we got in such a short time. What did you raise, like $750 or something crazy like that in a few days?
Yeah, I mean, we got everything covered: the flight, the trains, and of course your stay here in Poland as well. So big thanks to everybody, and I was equally blown away by the support. So you guys are amazing. Keep doing what you're doing, and I hope you enjoy these casts that we're putting our heart and soul into.
Yeah, let's see what go on.
Trains, and of course your stay here in
Yeah, apologies, guys. Just a little bit of a cross team when I was refreshing the chat because it was lagged out.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, what's happening? Okay, that was crazy, but I think we're good. Yeah. Seems like we're all set.
I think we're good.
And so we're gonna be seeing Soulkey opening up with a hatch first. JYJ going into bio play. I'm very happy to see JYJ just play straight up bio. He's always played this way, and it's in the meta right now. Just going for an early eBay, getting into quick +1 and going 4 racks. That's always been JYJ's forte, and
yeah,
I hope that he brings that out again in this game and plays it to the best of his ability.
Yeah, he's someone like Rush, where he plays the orthodox game, but he plays it so damn well. Ssak would have been giving us a much different display, going into something like a very teched out Valkyrie into mech or what have you. And we're not going to be seeing that this time around from JYJ. Some very orthodox style, throwing down the CC, putting on some pressure, forcing drones off the line. Ooh, Soulkey getting a bit greedy here, pulls the drones back, going to try and defend with just 2 drones. I don't know about this. He's going to lose a lot of mining time as a result, but also JYJ has to respect the possibility of those 4-lings wrecking him, so does pull back those forces. Oh, Soulkey made 6 lings. That's actually good for JYJ now.
All right, well, with the SCV going down, JYJ definitely going to be pulling back into his wall. Being out in front is a little bit scary. It's all being revealed by Soulkey's Overlord just over that high ground. Seems like he does get back behind that wall, and as long as he keeps himself safe, this is a pretty decent position to start out with. And going into it eBay means that he doesn't really have to make any other moves. He can just power up and have a really strong push later on.
I mean, his gas was a little bit delayed. Like, he took this around about like 25 supply instead of something a bit more standard like 23 supply, or you could even take it as early as like 21. So yeah, he has got a slightly later gas, but since he is going eBay into Academy, that's fine. You know, he can still afford all of those upgrades. Just means his range will be a little bit delayed relative to the Mutalisk timing. You can counteract that. It's not the end of the world here for JYJ, and he did force some lost mining time, as well as forcing 6 instead of 4 links out from Soulkey, so there's big compensation.
I'm excited for what JYJ can do, but I don't think this really hurts Soulkey too much. Like, he's happy to make a few extra lings, just be very comfortable. He's even going to build a sunken colony at the front. Again, just making sure that he doesn't die, because he knows that his mid and late game are so powerful. He's going to make the right moves. And so just staying alive is his main priority.
Yeah, that we've talked about that in the player breakdown a little bit. That's his kind of go-to style, being willing to play from slightly behind, knowing that he is usually superior in the late game macro phase in ZVT. Or even a second sunken preemptively here, knowing that there's a potential of a 2 racks timing from JYJ, but it's just going to be that fast +1 build into a 4 rack, so doesn't necessarily need that sunken, but it is still possible that JYJ could put on the pressure with like a 5-minute 20 move out or something like that with just 1 barracks production. So has to respect that and keep the creep colony ready for a quick morph if the need arises.
All right, a 2.5 hatchery build from Soulkey. He will be popping out his first round of mutas. Not the strongest pop of mutas, just about 4 coming across the map to start things off. And it's already past the 6-minute mark, so turrets are finishing up. Everything is set and ready back at home. JYJ not quite deigning to move out just yet. Waiting for range and +1 before he really starts to get into the strong part of this build. So Soulkey finally putting together 7 mutas. Let's see what he does with this as soon as he arrives. 7 come through. Ooh. 3 kills so far.
4.
Bio just gonna move out.
He got 4 because of the bounce. Oh my gosh, that's 6 so far. That is a lot of dead SCVs, even catching a few Marines. But JYJ going on the counter offensive with these Marines out on the map, ignoring the mutas back at home. 3rd creep colony being made in response, and won't be able to pull the trigger. Oh, a little bit of a tactical ling stab, seeing if he can get that turret at the supply depots. Not quite able to do so. 8 Mutalisks now. More turrets have gone online. Oh, this is a significant amount of lost SCVs for JYJ. That's like 9 total in these 2 attacks. Now sweeping into the main. Make that 11. Is going to catch these mutas now on the back end. Kill 2 of those. But flyby into the natural yet again from Soulkey, bringing himself up to about 12 SCV kills. That is plenty. You do not need more than that to go into a macro game. You just have to make sure you don't get overwhelmed by the bio. So he's committed into 4 sunkens in his natural to, you know, for any possible timing attack from JYJ. And he's really delaying this 3rd hatchery out on the map as well.
There's a drone hidden over there in the top left-hand corner, but JYJ, is he gonna see it? It's so close. I think he does see it. Okay, he can kill that.
Ooh, nice.
This is quite big, actually. I think that Soulkey will probably go directly into Hive. No. No Queen's Nest yet. So I guess just continuous Mutalisk production and more Sunkens at the front. He's just going to start diving and going for a kill.
He's baited the Marines out onto the map and is trying to overwhelm with Mutalisks and has the Sunken wall back at home. So he's trying to bait JYJ into counter-attacking. which opens up the Terran's position to be overrun. He is losing quite a lot of Mutalisks for his troubles, but will overrun this natural expansion, and JYJ can't break that. That is 6 sunken colonies. He has sold JYJ a false bill of goods here, kind of representing a normal game, but actually basically doing like a Mutalisk all-in and making a massive sunken wall to prevent any counterattack.
Yeah, it feels like JYJ is completely fallen for this, and he's not heading back home either. He's like pretending at the front that he's going to attack in, but if he was really going to attack in, he would have done it immediately.
Sure.
Attacking into this natural now, it gets worse and worse. JYJ taps out. There it is. GG.
Wow.
Just a very straight up style from Soulkey, outperforming JYJ and smashing him down with that Mutalisk all-in.
That is the first time I've gotten chills in the ASL. Like, that was a master class from Soulkey. That was such a bait and switch. He represented a macro game to JYJ and was like, yeah, I've got a drone up here in the top right. I'm looking to take my expansion. And JYJ is like, okay, you've killed a lot of SEVs, so I need to threaten counterattack so you don't just keep running it down on me with the Mutalisk production. And usually the Zerg will be in a point of transition, making the Queen's Nest and the Hydra Den, getting the Lurker aspect. There's a lot of gas that you can't invest into mutas, but Soulkey actually says, no, I'm just going to make non-stop mutas off of these 2 bases and run you down because all of your bio is out on the map.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake. Like, if he sees the natural with that many sunken colonies, you might as well send the bio ball back home. At least give yourself a chance to hold on against the Mutalisk. And, you know, if you send a couple of Marines out, maybe you can catch that, like the next drone coming up to make a third. But he just stood in front of the natural, pretending like he was going to attack in, where it was getting worse and worse. The chances of him actually breaking that were getting less and less. Soulkey now on stage, of course, advancing into the round of 16. We all expected it, but this was a very nice performance from him, taking down JYJ in such fashion.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely expected it, but that was spectacular, man. I mean, JYJ is usually such a god in TVZ, but Soulkey made him look a little bit silly with the metagaming. That was ridiculous level of star sense from Soulkey, and I think that's what makes him such a scary player. He is one of the best macro Zergs on the planet, hands down. But as soon as he sees the opportunity, he's gonna ramp up that aggression on you like we were talking about previously in the player breakdowns. And it's hard to deal with someone like that. Like, if it was just someone that plays macro every single game and they like never cheese you or never get aggressive, like you can min-max against that and you can put on pressure, take some liberties and what have you, or get a bit economically centric yourself. But when you've got a player that is willing to switch their gears on a dime like that, I mean, what can you even do? You need like perfect scouting information to combat that. And sometimes that can be really difficult when you're in the moment, in your macro stride, like trying to execute and play at a high APM and make sure you don't ever miss a round of macro. Sometimes it's really hard to have the spare cognitive ability to make those critical decisions.
Big ups to Soulkey. I mean, playing at an extremely high level again. We were expecting it this season. I mean, it was a little sad, I think, last season, seeing him, you know, feeling out of sorts and saying like, oh, I don't think I'm going to advance. You know, I'm not going to make it through the round of 16. And then, you know, things kind of went the way that he had predicted because he hadn't been putting in the hours. It really feels like he's putting in the time now and pushing his limits. I'm not sure how far he's going to go this season, but I feel that that draw of fate, these guys, Soulkey and Soma, may be meeting up somewhere along the line. We'll see an epic battle.
Well, I think Soma is probably going to pick someone like Shuttle in his group.
Oh, yeah.
Pick. Yeah, that's for sure.
He's going to avoid him.
For sure. But, you know, he could be meeting him up, you know, in like the round of 8 or like you said, like the semifinals. That would be crazy. I actually think Soma will run circles around Soulkey in a series. That would be problematic for Soulkey, to say the least, if he does have to face off against a top Zerg in his tournament life. But that does mean we're going to be having Piano versus Ssak in that losers match coming up soon, guys. Hope you've been enjoying the show. Thank you to all your love and support. And I enjoy reading your chat messages as well. Some of you guys are really funny. But we're going to a bit of a commercial break here. So run to the bathroom, grab some water, grab some fruit, whatever you got to do, and join us for that losers match. Coming up next, Piano versus Ssak. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, boys, we are back and ready for Oregon versus Ssak. I was thinking a little bit about this during the break, Xun.
Mm,
A analogy for players in this group and in Brood War in general. I think of Oregon as kind of like a general in an army. He's like a guy who's uh, kind of removed from the trenches. You know, he's not on
sure,
the front lines. He's not a soldier,
sure.
but he has like a grand strategy. And generally, when he wins before the battle even starts by thinking up an awesome idea or an awesome way to outsmart his opponent.
Yeah, I can kind of get behind that. Ooh, and Piano bringing out the old school heat pack. Those were pretty much every day in the Kesper era of StarCraft, and Piano, creature of habit. Let's see if we can get a good game out of these guys. Hope you're ready for the ASL Season 22, Round of 24, Group E Losers Match, Piano versus Ssak. Let's get it.
Piano spawning in the bottom left or center left. Ssak, center right. There he is. General Piano. Not quite a frontline soldier. If I was thinking about players in Brood War who would be like a frontline soldier, I'm thinking like barracks, just taking orders.
Sure,
you know?
yeah.
Following along. Flash is probably a general or an admiral. We got like Stork, another general in the back lines. But I think Soulkey is more like a NCO, you know, a non-commissioned officer, somebody who's definitely a tier above the regular fighters, but he's in the trenches battling, and he's the one who's actually on the ground, you know, making adjustments on the fly and defeating the enemy. Oregon.
Oh my gosh.
Starts at rats and immediately scouted. You're kidding me.
No
okay,
way.
Well, I mean, it's not the end of the world. At least he didn't put too much time into making that barracks, right? Like, the barracks just started. He just cancels it. He loses a little bit of money. If that had been, you know, 50% complete when Ssak found it, that would be an absolute nightmare.
I mean, it's not end of the world, but the comet did break up in the atmosphere and still rain down hellfire on the planet, saying this is still not ideal, to say the least, for Piano. Just going to make a supply depot back at home and play from a deficit. Going into the main base with the scout. Sees the 12 supply gas from Ssak, so Ssak playing pretty orthodox, not going to be going for a cheeky CC or anything like that with a bunker expand. Has got this forward barracks, does Ssak. It's going to help him scout out and maybe put on some pressure if Piano was going to get a little bit weird and try and throw down an early CC. But he's instead just going to play from behind with a delayed barracks and gas himself.
Yeah, and Ssak, I mean, he built the barracks for himself a little bit out on the map. It's kind of risky when the SCV is out here. You can see Oregon looking for the placement on that racks. If he finds it, things could turn around into Oregon's favor suddenly, because you have to pull multiple SCVs to try and finish that barracks before you can even make the factory. It'll slow things down quite a lot. So taking a bit of risk. That'll allow him, though, to get the barracks into Piano's base a lot faster. So he's going to be able to get in and scout what Piano's follow-up is, because you know you got to keep Piano under check. You got to figure out what he's up to, because he is a crazy player, especially in this matchup.
I'm just going to adapt your previous comparison of Piano, saying he's like this general that's not in the trenches. I actually think he's this like mad dog general that like is kind of having a bit of a midlife crisis and like demotes himself to private so he can go back to the trenches. He just like is sick of his desk job in the caster booth, and he's like, I want to have some of this action.
Yeah, I mean, he's sick of Terrans losing, man. He's like, I gotta get out here and, you know, put some points on the board for my nation, right?
Yeah.
Well, I had a bit of a hard time versus Soulkey. He's now doing a little bit of infighting civil war here between the Terran players. And honestly, this is probably his biggest strength is TVT, being able to take out other Terrans. That's how he made it through into round of 16 last season.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no like silver lining here for Piano. He's just behind in every regard. But he has got defender's advantage, so maybe he can gradually normalize this game the longer it goes on. It's just going to be really tough. He actually made 3 Marines to help buffer his defenses. He knows there's going to be a superior count of vultures available to Ssak, and he's going to need all hands on deck to secure this natural, I imagine. He could, in theory, throw down a bunker as well, but he wants to avoid having to do that, just having a few extra Marines to tank shots and do DPS. Marines actually have pretty good DPS against vultures, but they do die in only 2 hits.
They could absolutely swing a fight in vulture on vulture action. Ssak slips a Marine past into the natural. I don't think he gets the kill on this. No chance, right?
No.
Yeah, that's going to be dealt with. But it slows it down a tiny bit. And every second matters here when Oregon's already behind.
Yeah. Marines going to go back into the main base to kick this barracks from getting a scout out. I think that was an armory just now starting for Piano, and Sakk's already got his armory. SCV waiting at the top side of his main base. I wonder if he's going to be starting a starport there. Yes, he is indeed throwing down a starport there. Okay, so he's going a bit more tech-centric in this game. Ssak likes to do that. He's not one of these guys that goes vulture wars or plays a straight-up style. He loves to throw down starports as soon as possible in just about every matchup.
I think that's pretty on point. Ssak last game lost control of the air to JYJ, but it was after quite a long time, and a lot of Valkyries had to be made in order to wrest that control away from him. I think that he actually underutilized his air control.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
In that game versus JYJ, like he had a bit of a hard time getting the most out of those air units, but we'll see if he's able to outperform Piano, because we're past the early game now. There's not really any big curveballs that Oregon can throw at him at this point. We're just gonna have to see a straight up TVT, and I feel like Ssak should have an advantage in that.
Oh, for sure. When you're playing from behind like this of Piano, you are basically hoping on your opponent making a mistake. If like both players play at a similar caliber, the player with the advantage that Ssak has usually will win, 9 times out of 10, maybe even a little bit more than that. So yeah, Piano is kind of just hoping that if he can play perfect and keep things tight, maybe Ssak will get a bit too cocky and make a few mistakes here and there that Piano can capitalize on, like maybe this drop ship gets shut down really efficiently, something like that. He's waiting for Ssak to step on a rake or two in this game to claw it back. He's moving out with his army, and the drop ship moving southward bound now. I'm not sure there's going to be much back at home for Piano to deflect this drop attack.
Yeah, Piano's moving across the map at a pretty inopportune time, right as this drop is coming in. Back at home, Ssak looks pretty well defended. Oregon Piano gonna go around. Okay, now he's heading back towards the natural. Dude, I don't think he can get in here, and he's gonna lose a lot of SCVs most likely.
This looks bad, man. Like, he can't do any damage to Ssak, and Ssak is going to start picking off SCVs. Like, he's not going to kill every SCV here, but any damage is just... Oh, no! A vulture run by into the natural. Hold the phone saying this just went from bad to so much worse. What a great 1-2 punch combination from Ssak, distracting him in the main with the vultures. But the real threat was these vultures slipping in to the natural. They killed so many more SCVs, and now also getting a couple of extra kills in the main base to boot, and Piano has nothing for compensation.
Oof. Well, it goes from bad to worse. Ssak now in an amazing spot, and you can, as Oregon, try to just siege your tanks, lock up one area. Oh gosh, the siege is kind of bad. Ssak just gonna spread his tanks and absolutely wipe this. Sometimes it's better to just stay on siege and not waste the time getting sieged up. You can see how much better this actually went for Ssak, and there's no hope of retreat from Oregon either. So he loses everything. I mean, now there's no hope of just locking down an area. Like here in the center, it's a very tight choke. It's possible you could try to lock your opponent out of your side of the map and just try to get a few bases online to take it into a late game, but now I don't think that's even an option anymore. Okay, he's gonna push in a little bit towards this tank line. Only 2 more tanks behind this. Gonna take a bit of a trade, but he's so far behind with these drops continuously hitting. Another run by looking to come through into the natural, get some more damage. Dude, Oregon is just falling apart. It's a little bit sad to see.
Yeah, I think my original prediction that Piano's going to have a harder time because everyone will expect him to throw some curveballs out there is coming to pass. The scouting pattern of Ssak finding that early 8 racks has just made this game so much trickier for him, and I actually feel a little bit bad for Piano. This game is going horribly wrong in so many different ways. It's admirable that he's trying to stick with it and see if he can shove down on it, but you have to wonder if he's going to be tapping out sometime soon as Ssak continues to thwart these attacks, laying down mines in the wake of these tanks. Big mine connections. There's just nothing in it for Piano. We could be seeing a GG in a moment, but maybe he's just going to stick it out. He knows he's going to be eliminated from the tournament if he does tap out. Wants to go out fighting, I suppose, like a true backseat general would, but I don't know, man. I just don't see any chance at Piano fighting his way back in this game.
Yeah, there it is, boys. That last mine connection, holy, it wipes out everything, and there he goes. GG. Oregon taps out. Ssak will advance to the final match. Face off against JYJ, and Piano out first. Bit of a disappointing run from him this season, but the cheese just did not come. It just did not materialize in these games, and he really does need to get a leg up on his opponent early on. Everybody is just so mechanically gifted, and Piano is a bit of an older player.
Yeah, it's a shame. It was nice to have him in the tournament. He did qualify, so big shout out to him being a caster and still managing to qualify for the ASL. Is a big achievement in and of itself, but like we predicted, just couldn't quite keep up with the pace of these other guys now that they were more aware of what kind of plays he's going to bring to the table. Maybe he was trying to sell a false bill of goods to the Terrans by playing a more orthodox macro style against Soulkey, and that he wouldn't get too cheesy in these TVTs, but Ssak knew better. Beautiful SCV scouting pattern shutting that down, and really curious about the rematch between Ssak and JYJ now. I think it could have gone either way. Like, that game was seriously even, right? Like, even though there was an advantage for JYJ right at the start, like, Ssak made that look very playable.
Yeah, this could be a great rematch between JYJ and Ssak. Don't miss it. 6 minutes break, guys, and we'll be right back to bring you that final match. Okay, boys, time for the final match of the night. JYJ versus Ssak. Thank you so much for being here with us today, watching the ASL live or checking it out on StarCastTV a couple of days after the fact. We appreciate you guys. We're very happy to be bringing you these groups and the entire ASL as well this season.
Yeah, it's been an absolute blast getting to cast the ASL with you, Sam, for a few seasons now. Looking forward to how this tournament pans out. We've already had quite a few upsets in the round of 24. Things do tend to normalize in that round of 16 with the best of 3 format added to the winners, losers, and final. But now we've got backrooms, exactly what we were looking to see for this final TVT of the group between JYJ and Ssak. Let's get right stuck into the action, guys. The ASL Season 22, Round of 24, Group E, final match, JYJ versus Ssak on Backrooms.
JYJ down in the bottom left this time. Ssak in the top left. Backrooms. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Excited to see these two beasts of TVT go head-to-head on Backrooms. Last match was a banger, and so I'm expecting nothing less here on Backrooms. See how this actually pans out in TVT, and it's a very fun map. It's a very cool map. I want to see some ZVZ here as well.
Yeah. By the way, guys, if you are watching on StarCast TV in VOD form, let us know about the volume levels. I've been trying to dial it in, make sure our voices are not too overpowering over the game sounds. So the game sound should be a lot better for these 3 groups of the week. Give us some feedback on that. I don't necessarily read all of your comments, but I read a lot of them just to make sure things are as dialed in as possible. And I love your constructive feedback and any criticisms you may have. We do try and bring you the very best cast possible.
And even haters are good for the algorithm, so, you know.
Sure.
Leave whatever comments you want. It's all good.
Yeah.
We are not going anywhere. And we really, really enjoy all of these games and communicating with you after the fact and during the cast as well. Thank you, everybody in the chat.
Yeah, I'll continue to be reading the chat from time to time. I haven't got a dual monitor set up, so I can't always read it during the actual matches, but some of you guys are really funny, and I'll occasionally read out a comment if it gets a tickle out of me. Okay, so slight deviation yet again. Ssak, Barracks on the periphery of his main, JYJ in the natural. Seems to be a bit of a stylistic choice from these two. Let's see if Sark's going to get super greedy again and not make those Marines. You have to wonder that he should be making the adjustment of not skipping over those Marines after what disastrously happened to him last time with getting that CC cancelled with the pressure play from JYJ, who will do the same thing again if he sees no Marines being made from Ssak.
Yeah, that would be a huge mistake. I really hope that Ssak doesn't try to pull that off again, because you're absolutely right. A punish is pretty simple, especially with JYJ placing his barracks in a forward position. He will be able to rally up here quite quickly. Already starting to harass this SCV is JYJ, and Ssak, I mean, he put some good damage on it, but he is going to be forced off, and he doesn't have another SCV coming right away, so these Marines are going to come up. We could have a little battle here, and that SCV being damaged might come into effect. Yeah,
but luckily Ssak is making 2 Marines, so he's not taking any liberties this time around. He should be okay here. Has got the prerequisite amount to deal with this pressure play from JYJ, and this bunker expand does look like it's going to pay off. Here comes the attempt from JYJ, trying to target down that low Marine. SCV helps out, gets the kill. Can he get the other SCV too? He's got it very low. Still successful with this pressure, but a 3rd Marine was made by Ssak, so we'll find compensation, and the Marine should win that trade as well. Can he kill the SCV? It's so low, just one more hit would have finished it off, but doesn't quite get it. No, it's got 6 HP. The Marine would have killed it.
Right. You got it. 6 attack damage from a Marine, that's correct. 5 for SCV, drone, and probe. So just about there. However, Ssak will stabilize. Ooh. Oh my goodness.
Wow, okay.
Starport proxied out on the map. JYJ crazy. Just going to try to keep on this pressure. Ssak's done a good job thus far of turning with the blows and preventing real serious damage, but getting in here with this very quick Wraith, maybe JYJ can start to spiral things out of control.
Yeah, I don't think Ssak is necessarily going to anticipate this. This is a little bit unorthodox for JYJ's play style. I mean, he does mix it up sometimes, but he's not known for doing this very often. Could throw Ssak off. He's also going for his own 1-1 build, is Ssak, getting his own starport. That gets spotted by the floating barracks here of JYJ. I think we also saw a game bug, by the way, where Ssak cancelled a marine at like 99% and it died coming out of the barracks.
All right, he actually adds on. JYJ put an add-on. Is he going to make a drop? I think we're going to see a very fast vulture drop into the main. And Ssak's kind of relying on a wall at the front, so this could actually do a huge amount of damage. JYJ has map control. He may be looking to lay down mines here shortly too. Oh,
ooh,
going into cloak as well.
Yeah,
this is interesting. So maybe a drop into a Wraith follow-up.
Maybe, yeah. I would...
Cool build from JYJ. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, he's going to be slightly slower on the Wraith production as a result, maybe. So Ssak will have a faster Wraith, but once the cloak kicks in, that might really surprise Ssak. Here comes that vulture drop now. Going to at least kill this SCV building a depot. Slides into that mineral line, starts taking out some additional SCVs there. 3 so far. Gets a 4th. I mean, Ssak will stabilize with the tank Wraith. 1-1-1 is very strong with non-stop tank and Wraith production, but JYJ is finding a lot of damage with these vultures and has the cloak follow-up as well. Ssak might not be ready for this.
Dude, he killed the SCV building the armory too, and that hasn't been restarted. So that's actually going to be quite slow.
Yeah.
JYJ sending in the first Wraith. Cloak is going to be done shortly. If you can cloak, fly in and get the first hit, that will net you a victory over the Wraith of Ssak. So he's looking for it now. He's like, where's the Wraith? It's not attacking the barracks anymore. It's actually hiding over in the corner. Now there's 2 Wraiths, so it's a little bit of a problem. JYJ going to pull back.
Yeah.
Not going to commit for that because he would still lose if there's a scan.
Yeah, I think that's it. He identified that, Ssak, despite having a delayed armory, does have comsats, so he's gonna have to respect that and go back home. And now this proxy starport could pose a problem for JYJ, because if Ssak doesn't cut his Wraith production, eventually he could move out and take out this starport and then get air superiority over JYJ. I mean, at the moment, JYJ leading in supply with that SCV damage does technically put him ahead, but there is a window for Ssak to turn this game around at some point.
Yeah, this dropship's still alive. Oh my gosh. Gonna fly around the other side. Maybe pick up some more vultures. Try to dump into the natural. There's a ton of space in the back of the natural here on this map. Back rooms.
Yeah.
By the way, like that could become a massive issue, especially for JYJ. If Ssak gets air control, he can potentially come back there and dump a ton of tanks in behind those mineral lines.
Sure. He's got 3 vultures in the dropship. There's another vulture laying down mines at the 12 o'clock. I wonder if he's going to scoop that inside as well, or if he only wants to go in with 3, or already had a vulture in the dropship. Not quite sure, but at least 3. Okay, yeah, he is going to scoop that 4th vulture in. Sharking around with the Wraiths a little bit, but now is starting to abandon ship with his starport. He knows that's a weak point. Needs to get that starport back to safety while he still can. Here comes that drop now from JYJ to this exposed expansion in the natural. Could find a lot of SCV kills. Actually only going to drop 2. Distract Ssak and then drop 2 in the main. But Ssak, too smart for that. Going to immediately hunt down the dropship with the Wraiths and has some tanks and Goliaths to clean up in the main base. Does lose a significant amount of SCVs though in that natural expansion.
Ssak is just a punching bag for JYJ right now. He's been hitting him over and over and over again. Is it time for Ssak to finally strike back? He's got a good chunk of Wraiths. He's got a Valkyrie as well. JYJ's already pulled his starport back, but he shouldn't be able to win the air battle. Like, he just does not have that Valkyrie. The cloak helps. If he catches Ssak completely off guard and just instantly kills that Valkyrie, maybe he could win the fight with cloak, but it's kind of tough, and it's a very big risk because all of a sudden we might see you know, if Scan is paying attention, or if Ssak is paying attention, he does hit the Scan, everything dies, and then you completely lose air control.
Yeah, we got a third base on the way for JYJ. That's going to be delayed, though, with the Vulture run by here from Ssak. He actually does slip into the natural tank, going to deny the Vultures getting to the main base, but he can go after these SEVs. Doesn't quite find these mine connections on Ssak as he tries to get on top of the rally point here of JYJ. A lot more tanks, though, for JYJ. Ssak's gonna have to pull back, and if you know, JYJ just goes defensive right now and gets this third base online, you got to favor him. Oh, the Valkyries! Oh, he doesn't scan. Okay, the scan was really late. He does force a turnaround, but now target firing onto those Wraiths with those cloaked Wraiths on the Valkyries, and does kill both. I mean, all of those Wraiths are like red HP, but he kills everything.
Wow, I thought those last few missiles were actually going to end up killing all the Wraiths of JYJ, but he keeps 3 alive, and so map control switches over to JYJ. That was the mistake that JYJ needed Ssak to make in order to seize air control, and now nothing is really in Ssak's favor at all. The tank count has just been demolished. He has no more air control, and JYJ overall better macro position as well. This run by doesn't work. Dude, everything has gone run now. JYJ should be able to close this out unless something massively wrong happens for him.
Yeah, he's even got a mine blocking his CC plantation at that 12 o'clock base. He can just scan to clear that, but he hasn't done so. He might have like went to plop down the CC and didn't notice that it got blocked. He's actually making a new CC in the main to float down to this mural only. Now he's going to scan and clear out that mine for the 12 o'clock as well. I don't know, man. This game is really weird because Ssak kind of needs to do something. He is getting in here with a dropship, picking up a few SCVs. Looks like he wants to double expand behind this and try and catch up in the curve of the game. I guess the drops are somewhat successful here for Ssak, but nowhere near as good as the damage that was dealt to him by JYJ earlier.
JYJ, the grizzled old veteran, is absolutely grinding Ssak into oblivion. Here comes an attempt from Ssak to do something against this air fleet, but one Valkyrie, it just does not kill Wraiths that fast. Even though Valkyrie does kind of counter Wraith in general, you need a few of them to make it work, right? The single target DPS of the Wraith is so strong that they can actually fight pretty well against Valkyries until you got about 3 or 4, and then all the Wraiths disappear. Yeah,
and JYJ was doing that like trick where you like circle around the Valkyrie to avoid some of the splash damage as well. So there are tricks you can do to mitigate the devastation of the Valkyrie splash damage potential. SCV gets killed by Ssak, by JYJ with the Vulture at 12 o'clock. Can't throw down that gas expansion just yet, and JYJ is taking his own 4th base at the 6 o'clock now. No upgrades for Ssak yet, whereas JYJ already has +1. We could see a situation where JYJ has a +2 upgrade advantage that just completely devastates Ssak, or he can't keep up in the trades anymore. JYJ is actually leading in supply by 30.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, he needs another advantage for sure. He's already got every advantage possible at this point.
Oh no, the Wraith.
I think Ssak is just grasping at straws, trying to go for some kind of a drop here. Just not quite going to be able to get it. Oh my gosh, is he going to get the drop?
Oh my
gosh. Wow. Wow.
JYJ's playing like a monster at the moment, and he's encroaching on this 4th base location of Ssak, but Ssak's not going to take it at 12 o'clock anymore. He's going to take it at 9 o'clock instead, but that's a really tough base to hold on to. It's so close to your opponent. It's easy for them to lay siege to that. So now Ssak needs everything to go right for him. He can't afford to have to retreat. He needs to hold this position that he's currently entrenched in. But look at how many tanks for JYJ are trying to challenge that. There is a trench that JYJ has to contend with. 2 tanks on the high ground defending that 9 o'clock base, but JYJ making good ground, breaking through the tank lines of Ssak, and is now starting to threaten that 4th base. Only 1 tank remaining up there.
Okay, well, I mean, that probably went as bad as you could possibly imagine, or as good for Ssak as you could possibly imagine, but it's still probably not enough. Like, JYJ lost a lot of his tanks. He actually got pretty close to even in supply there for a moment to Ssak, but he still does break the high ground over here at the center left, and he's going to get these 2 tanks as well, threatening this base by going around that left-hand side. JYJ has a really nice position. He just needs to make sure not to trade too poorly into the tanks.
Okay, so the one advantage Ssak has is he has got a reasonable air force here, pew-pewing down some of the tanks of JYJ. Has got air superiority, at least for the time being, forcing these tanks to relocate, but at the moment JYJ is pretty much winning on every other metric imaginable. Ssak only just now starting to get that 4th base set up. Does get a vulture slip by into 6, but JYJ is everywhere, man. Just shutting down anything that Ssak can throw his way left and right. And there's that +2 weapons timing for JYJ. He's going to trade so cost efficiently, 2-shotting instead of 3-shotting the tanks now. Sark's going to have such an arduous task trying to keep control of this top center lane to this 4th base. This could very equally be a tap out moment for Ssak. If these Wraiths can't do the heavy lifting that they need to, he's in so much trouble. They do kill the Goliath though. It's going to start putting a timer on these tanks. These Wraiths is all that Ssak has got standing between him and elimination.
I mean, they are paper planes, but they're making some waves in the middle of the map. Gonna fight another Goliath. Trades it for a single Wraith. Oh, second Wraith actually falls, and this harassment will finally be shut down. 50 supply behind, though. I can't imagine JYJ is going to continue to allow Ssak to hold the air superiority. We should be seeing Valkyries. Yeah, there they are. Valkyries at the natural. 3 so far, but once you hit about 4 or 5, that's when the Wraiths absolutely disappear. That's when they really earn their name.
Yeah.
Being paper planes, just burning up like crazy in the fire of missiles that those Valkyries can put out. And we should be seeing that closer pretty quickly as Ssak finally loses the single advantage that he has in this game.
Okay, a couple of vultures for Ssak do get down into the bottom right. Identifies the base, taking out a few SCVs. The vulture of JYJ, though, cleans that out. Let's see if there's any wiggle room here for Ssak at turning this game around. It seems pretty bleak, though. Unfortunately for him, he's just expanding slower than JYJ. Even a bit of a vulture poke here in the 12 o'clock base. Luckily, that won't accomplish too much, but JYJ doesn't really need to do anything else in this game. He's already done the hard part. He just needs to compound his already accomplished advantage and press it further just by his army movements alone. There's such a huge upgrade advantage. He's got plenty more Goliaths covering his ground forces now, so he can move more freely, and with those Valkyries in support of that as well. I'm not sure those Wraiths are going to accomplish nearly enough to keep JYJ at bay. He's charging down this center lane northward yet again, trying to get on top of Ssak and force a tap out from him. Ssak desperately trying to hang on. I think he's got +1 now, but it's going to be a long time until +2 is finished and he can even up this tank trading. Does for the moment keep JYJ at bay while trying to expand into the top right, desperately trying to normalize this game at all costs, but JYJ still majorly in advantage.
JYJ pushing into some of these chokes is just not really going very well for him. I feel like he's not identifying the positions which are weakest for Ssak to push into. Instead, just kind of hammering directly into the most defended position. This side seems a little bit more vulnerable, so he gets a bit of a spot over here. He's on the low ground, though, with some of these tanks. That doesn't allow him to trade too well. JYJ should be able to prevent center left from coming up, and with the number of bases he's accumulated, the macro advantage is going to become such that JYJ can throw away any number of units and still be okay in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, Ssak does have CCs landed at some of these bases. There's just nothing mining. Like, look at this 9 o'clock base. Like, it's not really accomplishing anything for him at all. And oh my god, a 70 supply lead for JYJ. Now this is getting ridiculous. You might try and shove it down on the right hand side lane now. Ssak, though, moving into position with some tanks as he sends over this SCV transfer. There are some mines here as well. Now finally Ssak has that +2 weapons upgrade himself, which will help out a little bit, but there's just so much numerical superiority for JYJ shoving it down. I don't know if Ssak can stop this. JYJ is going to cut off the lane of access to these top right quadrant bases, and that could very much well be a tap out moment for him. And oh my god, the SCV is going down at the 12 o'clock to the vultures as well. Nothing is going right for Ssak.
Yeah, everything is falling apart. Coming up now with the Valkyries flying over turrets as well, but just gonna go straight in for the raids. There we go. That's the paper planes we know and love. Absolutely demolished as they try to fly away. JYJ has done what he needed to do, which is remove any semblance of air control from his opponent. I mean, I guess there's still 3 wraiths over here, and flying directly through the turrets once again, and the wraiths that are sitting back and waiting on a right click. Not the best move to try and close this game, but again, it's a numbers game for JYJ. Like, he just has the mass. He's got the numbers to basically break any position of Ssak.
He's not being overly cost efficient for sure, but he's just able to outmuscle him regardless because of how far ahead he is. And looks like he's even going to shove it down this center lane yet again. 3 tanks there does force him to turn around. More Valkyries starting to drip feed away for JYJ as he flies over Goliaths and what have you. JYJ taking the 9 o'clock base for himself. He has successfully shut out Ssak, though, from setting up a lane of control to this top right. So JYJ could just slip some vultures over here to deny the gas mining. He doesn't know about it.
I think he should be able to get over there pretty soon. I mean,
he doesn't know it's there, I think, is the problem. Like, the Wraith barely missed it.
There, like, he wants to get this set up. Okay, I guess, yeah, maybe he won't shut down the mining for a little while, and that gives Ssak a lifeline, allowing him to just get a little bit more gas in the tank and survive a tiny bit longer. +3 is done for JYJ, and he's starting to take center left. Drop down towards bottom right. Is that a drop going down there, or is that just wraiths flying towards bottom right? Because if it's a big drop,
I think it's wraiths. Yeah,
that could be the start of something. However, JYJ pushing in and cutting off the left side of the map from the right. This is the big move that will start to really close the door on this game for Ssak.
But Ssak does trade reasonably well, and that supply advantage for JYJ starting to be shortened ever so slightly. Was it like a massive supply lead? Now it's like 30 or so. Yeah, it is wraiths harassing the bottom right expansions. I mean, Ssak is slowly but surely closing the gap of JYJ's advantage. If he can stop JYJ from finding and shutting down this gas mining in the top right, there is maybe a window for Ssak to turn this game around. I mean, it's going to take a long time, don't get me wrong, but it is possible for Ssak to win this.
It's hard to close a game in Terran versus Terran for sure. JYJ just hasn't been making the moves required to finish off Ssak, and Ssak is finding a way to live. He finally spots the space in top right, gonna send some vultures over there now. And with the Valkyries covering this, not really much you can do. With the wraiths actually shut that down, but a massive drop loads up. I think we're going to see a doom drop from Ssak that will be intended to just win this game outright. Like, this could be the play that makes that changes the entire game. But JYJ is already in position with his wraiths. This is a very risky attempt. Here we go. Ssak gonna go all the way to the left-hand side of the map, try to fly straight into the main base, and it's all gonna depend on if JYJ picks up on this or not.
He barely didn't see those dropships with the scan. He has got his wraiths though in position for that potential move from Ssak. So, you know, Ssak might not go for it now that he's scanned and seen all those wraiths parked and ready for the dropship play. He's going to have to send these dropships somewhere else. Now maybe looking to drop on top of the army of JYJ.
Oh, they've moved.
Uh-oh. These dropships are not doing what they were supposed to do. And now the 12 o'clock base is completely exposed because of how much of the army of Ssak is loaded into them.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the army to really do anything. Dude, JYJ just mirroring this perfectly.
Sheesh.
Yeah, the game is going to end here. There's no way he gets by this. Even starts to chase down these drop ships, and Sak's not even going to have the final hoorah that he really wanted to with the drop into the main.
Yeah, that 12 o'clock base getting shut down. Meanwhile, looks like he's just going to drop onto this 9 o'clock base as a consolation prize. I mean, I guess it's something, but it's not enough compensation to make up for those other two expansions at the 12 o'clock and the natural in the top right quadrant getting shut down. I mean, I guess, yeah, it is technically accomplishing something, but he's half the supply of JYJ right now. He's not got any tempo. JYJ has just been on top of everything, not giving an inch to Ssak to get back into this game. GG is called, and JYJ will be advancing to the round of 16. Ssak, unfortunately, has been eliminated.
That reminds me of a chess game, honestly, where your opponent is just constantly putting you in check and just not allowing you to make any moves. Everything you try to do, you know, he's right on top of you and just forcing your hand. The final doom drop into the main was like a comeback mechanic that could have been okay for Ssak, but absolutely mirrored and shut down by JYJ with such professionalism. Really like to see him playing at this high level. Can't wait to see what he can do against some of these Zergs in round of 16.
I mean, the dropships have just been falling out of the sky in this group, saying, unfortunately, getting almost no success. And yeah, that does wrap up this group with a pretty neat little bow there. Soulkey and JYJ will advance, and tomorrow we've got perhaps our best group of the week, the group of death, with Mini, Calm, Queen, and Effort. Another asymmetrical group, 1 Protoss, 3 Zergs. And I mean, Mini is pretty damn good in PvZ, so, and he's an optimizer. I think we could see fireworks in that group.
Yeah, it's a funny group. It's kind of like the all Zerg 1 Terran group, 3 Zerg 1 Terran group we saw yesterday. But guys, shouldn't send me a photo before we went into that group. Basically, Mong sitting on the couch with 3 giant dudes standing behind him, and each of them had over their face the names of the Zerg players. It made me laugh pretty much, but that's not going to be the case, I don't think, with Mini. Mini is Mini is a monster, and so he's going to turn things around on these Zergs and give us a much better showing than Mong could.
Yeah, keep talking for a second. I'll see if I can quickly find that image.
No, he's going to pull that up. Oh my gosh. All right. He's going to show it on stream, guys. It did make me laugh pretty hard when he sent that to me right before Group D, but
it's on screen now. Oh god, I'm getting lightheaded.
It did turn out to be true. That's a good prediction.
It is what it is, guys.
Yeah, it was a pretty funny joke, but Mini is gonna give these Zerg players a run for his money, and I'm always a big fan of Effort as well. I can't wait to see if he can advance, but that group of death is very hard to predict.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, honestly. It's going to be probably one of the best groups of the whole tournament for the round of 24, as far as that's concerned. I would really like to see maybe Mini and Effort go through. I think that's maybe the ideal case scenario for me. But, you know, Calm is a very thoughtful, cerebral Zerg that actually helps out a lot of players with their build orders. He's not necessarily the best, you know, Mutalist micro user or, like, you know, just general execution of the game, but he's very smart. And yeah, Queen, obviously previous ASL champion a couple of times, was in a form of domination a long time ago. Not quite playing at the same caliber of players we're used to seeing from him, but he's a worthy contender for that group also.
Yeah, it'll be an absolute blast, guys. Don't miss Group F. Yeah, Group F. My gosh,
Yeah.
it's going to be a banger. Just had to check and make sure. Yeah, Group F is correct. Don't miss it, boys. Going to be awesome. Noon, same time tomorrow. CEST, Central European time. Cannot wait. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We'll see you there tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.